At the beginning of the film, we see a man named Chris Johnson. He's sitting in a cafe and looking at his watch, waiting for a specific moment. When the hands show the right time, he suddenly turns toward the entrance, but nothing happens. Chris lives in Las Vegas and makes a living performing in a small show under the stage name Frank Cadillac. He performs prediction tricks, but the audience perceives it as just another trick. He invites a girl from the audience onto the stage and predicts to the exact second when a necklace will fall off her. The audience applauds, considering it a clever trick. But at this moment, Chris is being closely watched by two FBI agents from the audience.
How many people are here from the Orient? Raise your hands. You, sir. Where are you from?
In his free time from performances, Chris plays at the casino. He makes small bets and wins a little money using his gift. The main rule: no big wins and no jackpots. He doesn't need extra attention. Nevertheless, the casino security service, led by Security Chief Roy Ball, closely monitors Chris's game through surveillance cameras. Something about this player's behavior seems suspicious to them, and then the chief calls security to Chris's table. He predicts this and heads to cash in his chips.
Oh, he's not counting, not off the top of a 5-deck shoe.
Wait a minute. Isn't it that 2-bit magic act over at the back page? What's his name?
Cadillac. Yeah, it's Frank Cadillac.
On the way, he sees a brief flash of the future. In a few seconds, a robber with a gun will approach the cashier and shoot two employees. Chris approaches the cashier exactly at the moment when the armed man appears. The robber points his gun, but Chris lightning fast snatches the weapon from him and neutralizes him. Tragedy averted. However, the casino security doesn't understand what happened. They only see that Chris is holding a gun, and they chase after him. All security services are sent to capture him. Using his ability, he easily dodges the guards. After all, he sees 2 minutes ahead of every movement they make and passes between them like a ghost.
We're on the floor, right?
Bring up the other cameras.
In the parking lot, Chris steals the first car he finds and drives away. The stakes are rising. Now the police are chasing him. A chase unfolds through the streets of Las Vegas. Chris approaches railroad tracks. He sees that in a few seconds a train will pass, and... But he didn't have enough speed, so he replays his future and accelerates even faster to get past the train. He succeeds. The train cuts off his pursuers, and Chris escapes. FBI agent Callie Ferris reviews the recording of Chris's escape from the casino. She analyzes his every move. The woman understands that this person truly possesses a unique ability. Her boss interrupts her, reminding her of the priority task. He tells her that terrorists have stolen a nuclear device and are planning to detonate it in Los Angeles. The FBI is frantically searching for the bomb, but without results. Therefore, the boss isn't interested in Chris, but still, Callie manages to convince her superiors of the need to involve Chris in the operation. She summons Roy Ball, the casino security chief, and interrogates him, trying to understand the mechanism of Chris's ability. Analyzing recordings of Chris's game, Callie concludes that he sees the future at least 1.5 to 2 minutes ahead. That's enough to help find the bomb. Meanwhile, Chris reaches his old friend Irv. The elderly man scolds the guy for the stolen car and worries about him. They play billiards and discuss the girl Chris saw in his vision. She's the only one he's seen beyond 2 minutes. Chris is sure this stranger from the diner could be his true love. Irv advises him to forget about her and not take risks. Suddenly, Chris freezes. He sees that in a minute an FBI agent will come here. But this time, he's not going to run. He's curious what the special services want from him.
A cop? Well, then you gotta go.
Hold on. I want to see how much she knows, what she wants from me.
Callie enters. She asks Irv to leave and remains alone with Chris. The agent hints at his precognition ability, but Chris plays dumb, referring to his magic show. Callie doesn't back down and gets straight to business. She describes the situation with the stolen nuclear device and asks for help, appealing to patriotism and sense of duty. However, Chris categorically refuses. He doesn't want the government to know about his ability. Then Callie resorts to threats. She reminds him of the stolen car and other violations. She offers a deal, but Chris is adamant. He refuses, and at that moment, armed FBI agents burst into the room. They surround Chris. But time suddenly rolls back again. It turns out Chris calculated this future scenario. He hastily retreats through the back door. When Callie enters the billiard room, she finds only lonely Irv playing. The agent disappointedly realizes she was short by just a couple of seconds.
He's gone, right?
Roybal walks to his car in the parking lot. He's intercepted by a strange couple. Introducing themselves as Gaming Commission employees, they inquire about Chris Johnson. Roybal says he knows nothing. Without hesitation, these people shoot him in both knees and knock him to the ground. Pressing a knife to his throat, they threaten to kill him if he doesn't tell them everything about the Prophet. They know that someone with unusual abilities could interfere with their plans. Roybal, in agony, spills everything he knows. Chris is sitting in the same roadside diner again. He's sipping a cocktail and looking at his watch. This time, he's sure of the time. The door swings open, and the very girl from his visions enters. She walks past the frozen Chris and sits at a table. He approaches and asks permission to sit down. The girl coldly brushes him off. Chris uses his ability. He runs through several future scenarios, trying to find the right words for introduction. Time and again, time rolls back and he tries different approaches. Nothing works. The girl is clearly not disposed to conversation. Then, a guy in a white suit enters the diner. He calls the girl Liz and sits at her table. It turns out this is her ex-boyfriend named Kendall. He asks her to give him a second chance, but Liz refuses. Kendall starts raising his voice and roughly grabs her arm. Chris intervenes. The ex-boyfriend tries to hit Chris, and he easily dodges every punch, seeing them seconds before they land. Along the way, Chris introduces himself to Liz, showing a cheap coin trick. The girl is not impressed. Chris sees that this scenario doesn't work either. Time rolls back again. Everything happens according to the same script, but this time, Chris deliberately takes Kendall's punch. The guy hits him in the face. This works. Liz chases away her ex and helps Chris get up. She invites him to sit at the table. Chris says his car was stolen and he needs to get to the Indian reservation. Liz is heading there anyway. She teaches at the local school. The girl agrees to give him a ride. They get in the car and hit the road. The couple drives against the backdrop of the picturesque landscapes of the Grand Canyon. Chris starts a conversation, considering their meeting fate. However, Liz doesn't share his romantic mood. She remains guarded. Meanwhile, Callie and her partner Kavanaugh interrogate the diner staff. The waitress tells them where the couple headed. Kavanaugh informs Callie about Roybal's murder. He was found dead with his throat cut. It becomes clear that the terrorists are also hunting Chris. They want to eliminate him before he interferes with their plans. After the conversation, we're shown a seaport where certain people are unloading containers with the nuclear installation. They're the ones who killed the casino chief looking for Chris. Later, we're shown how Chris and Liz arrive at the Indian settlement. The girl brought a birthday present for her student, a local boy. Chris doesn't stay on the sidelines either. He shows the kid a trick, turning a stone into a small lizard. The child is delighted. Liz also starts warming up to her companion. In the evening, they drive along a rainy night road. Liz falls asleep, settling on Chris's shoulder. Ahead, the road service has blocked the way. The downpour washed out the roadway, and passage is impossible. They have to turn around and check into the nearest roadside motel. FBI agents detect Liz's car through traffic cameras. Callie orders Kavanaugh to immediately head to the location. They have a chance to catch the prophet. The couple checks into a motel called the Cliffhanger. There's only one bed in the room. Chris, being a gentleman, says he'll go sleep in the car. Liz doesn't object, but she sighs heavily. She can't sleep, gets up and looks out the window. In the morning, Kavanaugh reports to Callie about Chris's exact location. The agent begins planning an operation to capture him. At this moment, an urgent briefing is taking place at FBI headquarters. Director Wisdom announces a nuclear alert of the highest level. He reprimands his subordinates for the lack of leads and suspects. The situation is critical. The terrorists could detonate the bomb at any moment. Callie intervenes and asks to allocate a capture team for Chris Johnson's arrest. She's confident that only he can help find the bomb. The director agrees. The FBI mobilizes all forces. The terrorists are monitoring FBI movements. Leader Smith decides to follow Callie's team. If they track down the prophet, the terrorists will get to him first and kill him. In the morning, Chris shows Liz another trick. He turns a paper flower into a real rose and gives it to her. This finally melts the girl's heart. She allows Chris to kiss her. They go to the room and spend time together. While the couple is busy with each other, FBI agents are working out the capture plan. Callie understands that cornering Chris with ordinary methods is impossible. He'll see their actions 2 minutes ahead and constantly slip away. They need cunning. They decide to use Liz. When the girl drives to the store for shopping, Callie intercepts her. The agent shows her FBI badge and offers a ride. Liz is in shock. Callie shows her footage from casino cameras where Chris stands with a gun in his hands. The agent convinces the girl that her companion is a dangerous criminal and psychopath. They say he used her to hide from justice. Callie gives Liz clear instructions. She must slip Chris a sleeping pill exactly 2 minutes after he comes out of the shower. In 2 minutes, he won't have time to see the danger. Liz is confused but agrees. She believes she's doing the right thing. Liz returns to the room and sends Chris to the shower. FBI agents take positions around the motel. They glance at their watches, waiting for the signal, but they're not alone. On the hill, terrorists through a sniper rifle scope are watching the entrance to the motel. The shooter receives orders to kill the prophet at the first opportunity. Liz prepares a glass of water and pours sleeping pills into it. Chris comes out of the shower. She holds out the glass to him, but at the last moment, the girl can't take it. She stops him and lays out the entire FBI plan. Liz can't betray someone she really likes. Chris is not surprised. He already saw this future scenario. He thanks Liz for her honesty and confesses his gift to her. To prove his words, Chris turns on the TV and begins to repeat verbatim the phrases of the hosts a second before they say them. Liz can't believe her eyes. She believes him. And then Chris gives the girl a note with instructions. He says he needs to leave, but he will definitely find her if she waits. He gives her $10,000, kisses Liz, and leaves the room. Callie realizes the plan has failed. She sees Chris jump from the second floor straight into the canyon. The agent sends a team to intercept. Lisa, meanwhile, follows Chris's instructions. She starts the car, puts a brick on the gas pedal, and directs the vehicle down the slope. The car at full speed crashes into the motel's massive decoration in the form of huge logs. Chris runs down the slope. The terrorist sniper takes a shot, but the prophet easily dodges, seeing the bullet's trajectory in advance. Then Liz's car, which hit the decorations, starts rolling from above. Huge logs fly down. Chris dodges the car and falling debris. At the foot of the mountain, Callie is already waiting for him with a gun. The agent points the weapon at Chris. At this moment, massive logs from the destroyed decoration begin falling from above. Callie freezes, realizing she's about to die. Chris grabs her hand and precisely indicates a safe spot. They jump aside, and the logs fly past. In the end, Chris saves the agent's life. As thanks, the FBI arrests Chris. They tie him up and take him away. At the same moment, terrorists kidnap Liz. They realize the girl is important to the prophet and decided to use her as bait. In the next scene, Chris sits tied to a chair at FBI headquarters. His eyelids are fixed with special clamps so he can't blink or close his eyes. Callie turns on a TV with live news. The idea is that Chris will see future reports and be able to determine where and when the terrorist attack will occur. Chris is transported into the future. In the live news broadcast, he sees a terrible picture. On the roof of a building stands Liz, wrapped in explosives. Detonation occurs. The girl dies. Chris screams and returns to the present. He categorically refuses to work this way. Callie doesn't understand. Chris demands to be released immediately. He's transferred to a holding cell. Chris asks the guard for a cigarette. Using his gift, he runs through dozens of escape scenarios and finds the perfect one. At the right moment, Chris knocks out the guard and leaves the cell. Seeing the future, he easily evades all agents in the building and runs out onto the streets of Los Angeles. Chris runs to help Liz. An FBI capture team follows on his heels. He climbs onto the roof of a multi-story parking garage, exactly where he saw in the future. Callie approaches him. This time, Chris was able to look a whole 2 hours ahead, much further than usual. He understood it's a terrorist trap. Chris offers Callie a deal. He'll help find the bomb in exchange for saving Liz. The agent agrees. They have no choice. Chris goes out on the roof, completely exposed. On the neighboring building, a terrorist sniper aims at him. A shot rings out. Chris pretends he's hit and falls. The capture team, having calculated the shooter's position, opens fire on him. The sniper is destroyed. Chris gets up safe and sound. He looks even further into the future and learns the number of the van that will bring Liz. At this moment, terrorists are loading the girl, wrapped in explosives, into the van. They're taking her to the port as bait for the Prophet. At this moment, Chris conducts a briefing with the FBI team. He personally leads the operation, indicating where and when to act. The assault begins. The van is stopped at the indicated location. The terrorists try to escape. On Chris's command, Callie, with an accurate shot, blows up fuel barrels near the car. The van overturns from the explosion. Liz gets out and hides in the port docks. The capture team, led by Chris, rushes to help her. However, the terrorists find the girl first. They grab Liz and use her as a human shield. The bandits try to leave, covering themselves with the hostage. Chris, with the team, pursues them aboard a huge tanker. Using his gift, the Prophet sees where the terrorists planted explosive traps. He leads the team along a safe route, avoiding the detonation of several bombs. Then something amazing happens. Chris seemingly clones himself. He runs through dozens of future scenarios simultaneously, combing every corner of the tanker, searching for Liz. He sees himself in multiple places at once. It looks like several Chrissies are running around the ship simultaneously. He finds the girl's location. The capture team neutralizes several terrorists in a firefight. One of the FBI fighters dies. It's Callie's partner, Kavanaugh. The agent takes the loss hard. Chris leads the team to the tanker's hold. There they find the terrorist leader Smith, who holds Liz in front of him as a shield, pressing a gun to her head. Smith threatens to kill the girl if they come closer. Chris starts running through all possible future scenarios. He sees dozens of outcomes, but in most of them, someone dies. Finally, he finds the only right path. Chris rushes straight at Smith. The terrorist shoots. Chris dodges the first bullet, then the second, then the third. He's like dancing between bullets, anticipating every shot. At the perfect moment, Agent Callie shoots. The bullet hits Smith right in the head. The terrorist falls. Liz is saved. Chris hugs the girl. But this isn't the end of the story. The nuclear device isn't at the port. Callie realizes the bomb is in another location. She brings Chris to a seismograph, a special device that should detect the location of the future explosion. Chris looks at the device, trying to see the future. His face goes pale. He realizes he made a mistake. It was all a trap. The terrorists deliberately stalled for time. At this moment, a monstrous explosion erupts in downtown Los Angeles. A nuclear mushroom rises above the city. The shockwave wipes everything living off the face of the earth. Millions of people die. Chris and Liz watch the catastrophe in horror. Then the shockwave covers them. White flash. The end. Chris opens his eyes. He's lying in a room at the Cliffhanger Motel. Liz is peacefully sleeping on his chest. Outside the window, it's morning. The explosion and everything that preceded it, all of it was just one of the possible future scenarios. Chris looked very far ahead and saw the catastrophe that will happen if he doesn't help the FBI. Chris picks up the phone and calls Callie. He agrees to help on one condition. Liz must not be drawn into this story. Callie promises to ensure the girl's safety. Chris wakes Liz. He tells her he needs to leave on important business, but he will definitely return. He asks her to wait. Chris kisses the girl and leaves the room. He sits on the motel porch. A thought runs through his head. A black SUV pulls up. Agent Callie gets out. Chris gets in the car. They set off to save Los Angeles. The film ends. Chris understood that his ability is not just a gift for personal gain. With great power comes great responsibility. He can change the future and save millions of lives. Now he has a chance to fix everything. He looked further than ever before and saw the catastrophe, but he also saw how to prevent it.